Okay. Good morning, friends. Welcome you all to the session 2. I want to start this session with this inspiring quote. No one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I am glad to welcome our session speaker, Swarna from R&D Technology and IP Attorneys. She is a registered patent agent and a law graduate. Having been in a practice for around 12 years, her specialties include patent searches, patent drafting, providing patentability and infringement opinions. She is also involved in patent prosecution proceedings at the Patent Office, opposition, and other invalidity proceedings. She has worked for a range of clients from startups to multinationals in the area of biotechnology, software, and mechanical engineering. She has been advising clients on global patent strategy, including PCT applications and national phases in designated countries. Swarna has also authored various articles and delivered training sessions in the domain of Indian patent practice. And she's also a member of Bar Council of Delhi. Ma'am, welcome you for today's session, ma'am. Now you can proceed with your session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am, for the introduction. And so I suppose today is the second day of the workshop being organized by Pratyusha Engineering College. And
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So it's a pleasure for me. First of all, I would like to thank, the management team of Pratyusha Engineering College. And it's really a pleasure for me to be attending this session, to be participating in this session. So in this session, I will be talking about how to draft the patent specification. So I have gone through the schedule for today. So I think the first session was with respect to the prior art search, and this second session is with respect to the drafting of a specification. And after this session, I think it is the examination, how the examination of patent applications will happen. So it is very strategically placed. All the three sessions are very strategically placed, because if you have a good prior art search, that will help you in having a good specification drafted. And if you have a good drafted specification, your examination of the application, it will become easier. It will be, the chances of having a successful patent grant will increase. So I've prepared a presentation for the topic. Please allow me to share my presentation. Just a moment, I'll just share my screen over here. Is my screen available, visible over there, ma'am?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It's available. It's visible.
Okay. And my voice is also clear. No problem.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you for confirming, ma'am. So as I mentioned that I will be talking about how to draft a patent application, and this is one of the most important step, or you can say a most important feature when you think about filing a patent application. We will discuss it, that why it is so important. But before going into the actual, how to actually draft the specification, I thought I should share the basic life cycle of a patent application, so that you have an idea that what happens when you file an application and from which stages it goes through to achieve the grant from the patent office. So the first step is obviously you'll have to. So I'll just start from the 0 stage. Now, if someone has an idea to perform something, like, right, someone has got an invention. So first of all, the inventor will have to do a prior art search to find out whether that idea is novel or not novel. Is it providing some kind of technical advancement or no? So after planet search, when you find out, yes, this is a good idea, it has business potential, it has some kind of novelty and some kind of technical advancement it is able to provide, then the second step will be we have to draft the specification. And this is the most important step. Because whatever we are going to write in our specification and the way we are going to draft the specification, this specification will be examined.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you make it as a slideshow, ma'am?
Slideshow, just a second, ma'am. And now it is fine, ma'am?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah, this slide. So I was saying that that in the second stage, when you write your invention in a detailed manner, the same invention you wrote at the first step, it will go through different stages. You will file the application with that specification. Then thereafter, your application will be published by Indian Patent Office. So that only specification which you drafted, that will be displayed at Indian Patent Office. It will be accessible to the public, and it will be visible or accessible by everyone. Thereafter, when the examination will happen, again the same specification will be examined. And so basically what I want to say that the first time when we write our invention, that will only be an important point, an important step, and that particular specification will be examined or will be referred at different stages of the patent application of the patent life cycle stages, and finally that specification will be either granted or refused. So everything depends on how to write your invention. So I'll just briefly share that what are these steps, what actions happen after the filing of the application. So you can file your application with a provisional specification or with the complete specification. We will discuss what is the difference between the provisional and the complete specification in our further slides. Thereafter, generally, when the application is filed, it is published after 18 months. This is the normal rule, that it will be published only after 18 months from the date of filing. But there are some universities, there are some applicants who wants that their application should be published early. Then that provision is available at Indian Patent Office. So you can file a specific request for filing early publication. If you file this specific request, your application will be early published, maybe in just 10-15 days once you file your request. So that whole 18 months time has squeezed to only 8 to 10 days. Now the third step is request for examination. Means after publication, your application will be examined. So when you file the request for examination, your application will be examined on various parameters, whether it complies with the criteria set by the Indian Patent Act, and all the formality check and all the substantive check happens over there. So I think this examination subject matter, it will be covered in the next session. So I will not touch this in more detail. Thereafter, the examination report is issued. There are various objections that an applicant has to address. So if the controller, so the person who is examining our application at Indian Patent Office, we call them as controllers. So at Indian Patent Office, there are controllers and there are examiners. So both of them, they examine your patent application. So if the controller is convinced with our response to the examination report, means for all the objections that we submit our response, then directly after filing the response to examination report, the patent office will accept or will grant your patent. In case if there would be any further issue, if controller thinks that he is not convinced with your response to the examination report, thereafter he will appoint a hearing. And then hearing is basically an opportunity where one-to-one interaction happens. You can explain your case to the controller, and thereafter the case will be decided. So what I just wanted to convey through this slide is that the specification that you draft at the first stage, this is being only published, this is being only examined, and while you are responding to examination report, you will have to respond based on the data and the information that you provided provided in your complete specification. So it is important that you completely cover your invention, and we will see in further slides that what we actually need to cover in specification and what are the factors that we should address. So what is actually a patent specification? So in general term, it is basically a document through which you disclose your invention to the Indian Patent Office. So it's just, a kind of an invention disclosure kind of thing, but this has to be provided in a specific format that has been prescribed by the Indian Patent Office. If we do not provide the specification or mention detail in that particular format, Patent Office may refuse our application because if that is not in the particular format. So the basic thing is that it is, if you want to understand what is patent specification, it is nothing but what is your invention. So that document which discloses your invention is a patent specification. Now, how is it different from research publication? I hope many of you would have the research publication because inventors and faculties, they are more keen towards if they have something new or innovative if they have done, so they are more keen towards publishing their research. So when you publish your research, it is mostly 100% it is just based on what is your technology. You don't consider or you don't think about what can be its legal consequences, because you don't have the exclusive rights based on the publication that you are going to have for your work. But when we talk about patent specification, so it is a techno-legal document. Now, why it is called a techno-legal document? Because there are two features in it, and both of which are very important. First of all, you need to disclose your technology in a different way that you disclose in your research publication. Because in research publication, it is not necessary that it should be new. Obviously, if there would be something good, in terms of work being done, so that will have a good point in research publication. But in patent specification, you specifically need to have some kind of novelty, inventive step, and industrial applicability, because these are the three parameters that patent office will be checking or evaluating if they should grant the patent or not. So first of all, you have to disclose your technology in a way that you explain that what is the new feature that you are going to bring in, what is the technical advancement that you are going to bring in through your technology. And thereafter, we move to the second part, legal. Why it is called legal? Because based on this patent specification, once it is granted, you will have exclusive rights on that particular invention. Exclusive right means only you can use that patent for 20 years. And if anyone else would be using or anyone else would like to use that technology, he or she will have to take license from you. So when we say legal, it means that while writing the technology, we will incorporate various legal jargons are there, which will, which are written based on what could be the possible expansions or horizons, or what could be the variations of that particular invention. So apart from the core technology, we will bind it with the legal parameters, with the legal diameter, so that we are able to cover the maximum scope of the technology. And because once, if it will be granted, so we will have a maximum patent coverage. So this is the difference between the research publication and the patent specification. That research publication just talk about the technology part, and in research publication, you don't have to bring in a technology which is new, which is inventive, and which has industrial applications. while when we are writing the patent specification, we have to comply with the patentability requirements as prescribed by the Indian Patent Act, which are at least 3 parameters like novelty, inventiveness, and industrial applicability. And apart from that, we'll have to assess our invention, that what could be the possible variations, or what could be the possible, extensions which could be used for that invention. So all those things as a package, we draft it in a techno-legal manner. So that is why it is the patent specification is known as techno-legal document. Now, it is rightly said that a well-drafted patent application determines the fate of the invention. So why it is, I think it must be clear by now. On the first slide, we saw that the way you draft the application, that same, that same document will be published. That same document will be examined by the Indian Patent Office. So basically, everything will depend on the specification that you draft. Everything will depend on the information that you are going to put in over there. And after filing the complete specification, we cannot add anything. So it is very important that when we are drafting the complete specification, it has to keep everything in mind, that what could be the future plans for for that particular product or process which you are thinking about, because we have to cover the future plans also in terms of changes, if there could be any further change, if there could be any other modification. So all those things have to be covered in the complete specification, because once we file complete specification, it will not be possible to add anything substantial. Now, when we draft the patent specification, so why it is called that patent specification drafting is tricky and complicated? It is because that when we are drafting the specification, it has to address, requirements or criteria. First of all, we have to describe the inventor's perspective, like what is the actual invention, what are its components, what is its novelty, a new feature, or the technical advancement that it is going to bring in. So first of all, it should be from the point of inventor. Secondly, we also have to see that if we are disclosing any invention, because your application will be published after 18 months, and then anyone can access that application. So if you guys are aware, so anyone can file an opposition also for your patent application if they feel that this patent application should not be granted. So we have to write the specification in a manner that if someone wants to oppose, even then he cannot oppose. Means the specification should be written in such a strict manner, just perform the good prior art search, so that there is no closer prior art search, prior art results which could be closer to your invention. Likewise, there should not be anything which is contradicting to the laws and the rules of the Indian Patent Act. Because if there would be any loophole which you can say, or any mistake, then there are various grounds on which a third party can file an opposition for your application and ask that this application should not be granted. So if you are, if you are a big company, then obviously there will be a lot of competitors, and everyone would be thinking that what is the new technology, or what is the new technical domain in which you are now thinking, or you are now investing. So if you get a good, a high or a breakthrough technology invention, everyone would like to copy it. So while writing the specification, we need to make it broad enough so that it cannot be copied by anyone else. And how we can assure it? We'll have to see that, for example, if we take a refrigerator example, so we'll have to draft in a way that all the components of firstly, what are the parts of the refrigerator? Now, how all those parts are working, and what are the substitute or alternative of that part. So we have to include those as well, so that when a third party or a third person reads your invention, so he does not have anything, that means it is not easy to substitute something from from some of the part of your invention and still reach your invention. So it is mostly applicable in the like chemical compositions, so or detergent composition, if you say, just taking simple example. So if there are specific surfactants in a detergent composition, and if someone is using anionic surfactant, and the in such case we should specify all the anionic surfactant in which the invention would perform, starting from 1 to 10, so that the third person cannot just replace one by 2 or 3 and still get the same result. That's how the infringement happens. So people, third person, what they do is that they just read the patent and they think the other way around. So they do reverse engineering, that okay, what are the alternate substitute of these components. So if you are not able to cover those alternate substituents in your complete specification, then you cannot prevent third person or third party to stop from using your patent, because we did not cover it. So that is why when we are writing the specification, we have to think from the point of view that what can be all the possible variations, or what could be all the possible aspects which are actually originating from your own invention and could be gathered by anyone else. Third perspective is the patentability perspective, which I explained just now, that as per Indian Patent Act, the invention should have novelty, invention should have inventive steps, and it should have industrial applicability. So if these three parameters are there, the patent office will grant the patent. And for achieving these three parameters, it is not so easy, because you will have to make a proper prior art search to find out if your invention is new or not, or if your invention is providing some kind of technical advancement. I'll just give you an example of technical advancement. For example, if we take a refrigerator, so few months ago we filed a patent application for a refrigerator. So it was a refrigerator which was specific for vaccine storage. So what was the novelty and inventive step over there was that refrigerator was able to operate based on the solar energy, and it was portable also. And so when we go to remote area where there is no electricity, even then the vaccines were safe. So at that point of time, there was no such refrigerator which could work on solar energy and which could preserve the vaccines for a longer period of time. So that was considered as one of the technical advancement by the Indian Patent Office. Likewise, when you are writing your specification, it will be open for general public. So obviously, if someone would like to advance research in that particular area, so they will also use your information. So you need to specify, and you need to keep a balance, that you reveal you reveal your invention suitably, but still just keep a very specific thing, like for example, the best results which you get by using any particular parameters. So this is a kind of a strategy which we adopt, like for example, in pharmaceutical this compositions for medicine. So let's say there are three components, A, B, and C. So the good results are being achieved like when we use component A from 0 to 5 mg, B from 2 to 10, and likewise C from 5 to 50. So what we will claim is that we will claim all these three range. But for the persons who are skilled in this particular domain, I'm sure they must be knowing that among these three ranges, there would be a particular combination wherein A, when mixed with B in a particular specific ratio, will provide the best result. So we don't need to mention the best result, because if you will disclose everything in your specification, then the chances of licensing the technology, that part little bit diminishes. So it has to be in a very balanced way, that you are complying with the patentability requirement, which as prescribed by Indian Patent Office. You are describing your invention in detail. You're also keeping competitors in your mind, that if they want to modify your invention, then what they would be thinking about it. So you have to cover all the possible aspects. And ultimately, in case there is any infringement suit regarding your patent, then again that the same specification will be read by court for assessing or determining its scope. And so it is very important that when you write these specifications, just keep all these points in your mind, that it can go through all these aspects also. Now, there can be two types of specification. So one is the complete specification, and the other type is the provisional specification. So I'll explain the difference over here. If you remember, in first slide, I mentioned that a patent application can be filed either with the complete specification or the provisional specification. So the difference between the two is that in case I will give you the practical practical case scenario. Like if I get a very innovative idea, or a very good concept right now, then as per Indian Patent Act, I will have to perform all the experiments, and only then I will be able to file the application. So it may take a long time for me to work on that idea, to make a product based on the same, and thereafter perform experiments or studies to test whether it is actually working or not. So it may take around 6-7 months for me to complete that work and then file application. Now in this scenario, what happens is that you guys would agree with me that nowadays there are so many publications happening. And because now, this is the online era, so a lot of publications are happening online, and not only in non-patent literature or this journal publication, patents are also being filed. So what is suggested is that as soon as you conceive an idea and you have little bit worked on it, just you have framed that how things will be planned and how things will happen. So it is suggested that you file the provisional application. Provisional application does not require the claims to be submitted with it, because claims are the most important part that will be checked at the time of examination. So as soon as you conceive the idea, you think that it would take you time for completing all the work and experiments. So suggested is that you file the application with the provisional specification, and thereafter you will get 1 year to complete your experiments and perform test studies, and thereafter you can file the complete specification. So that's this is the route which is followed when you file the provisional specification. Now, so provisional specification is advantageous when you if there is any urgency in commercial disclosure. For example, a product is being launched, so a product launch is already planned, let's say in 2-3 days, and it would take time for the drafting of complete specification. Then at that time, what you can do is that you can just file the provisional application, so that you have a priority date in your hand, and thereafter when the commercial disclosure happens, it will not harm you. So in patent, the priority date plays a very important role, because each and every document before the priority date of your invention is a prior art for you, while the document published after your priority date will not be considered by the controller in the examination. So that is why it is suggested that you block the priority date as soon as possible without delaying to complete experiments and performing all the test studies. So in case if you feel that there can be any event, few of the examples which I have mentioned here, like if there is any emergency commercial disclosure, or if thesis has to be submitted, or there is any accidental disclosure about your this invention, or if there are many competitors who are working in the same domain, and if you are afraid that that they are also working on the same concept. So it is advisable that as soon as the idea is conceived, just file the provisional application, and thereafter you can complete your experiments and test studies, and you get 1 year time period after filing the provisional application to complete the claims and file the complete specification. So this is the first case where you file the provisional specification. The second case is that if you have your invention complete, everything is ready, then you don't need to go with the provisional specification, because you have everything ready, and you have thought about every possible aspect, and everything means test studies are done, experiments are done, product is ready. No more studies or no more work has to be done on your invention. Then you can directly file your application with the complete specification. So complete specification would include claims. So the claims are the most important difference between, provisional specification and the complete specification, because as I mentioned earlier, that specification is the most important part. Now, when we come to this specification, in the whole document of this specification, among specification, the most important thing is claims, because claims are the features that will decide that what is your exclusive rights. And so we will discuss claims and description in detail in further slides. So here I just wanted to differentiate between the provisional specification and complete specification. So I think it is clear. If anyone has any confusion, they can ask at this point of time, or I think later when there will be question answer sessions. So the role of prior art. So it cannot happen that if I talk about drafting the specification and I do not talk about or discuss about the prior art search. But as the prior art search session has already been taken in the first part of the day, and very nicely Sir has explained that how to perform the search. So when you have performed the search, you have to differentiate, or just screen out that what are the new technical features of your invention, because those new technical features of your invention will help you in drafting the claims, in drafting your specification. So there are few pointers you can, when you are drafting the specification, first of all, it is a lengthy and exhaustive exercise, and you have a continuity has to be maintained. So it cannot happen that you draft the specification in parts. So when you are in that thought process, just list out the prior art results that you got from your search, identify the differences between your invention and all those of prior art, and figure out that these are the new technical features, and these are the features on which I have to focus in my specification. So so when you say that you have searched the prior art, it means that you have searched all the printed publication, you have searched all the papers, or all the publications, all the patent literature that was there at the time you are planning to file the application. So everything, just search all the internet, all the non-patent literature, all the patent literature. You can use different databases. In fact, Google Patents is one of the good databases. There are various other databases also, like if you guys must be aware about World Intellectual Property Organization. So there is a database, the WIPO database is there, and different countries have their own databases, like Europe has their own. So you can go through their website and check if the idea you are working on, if it is same, or if there is some difference. So there should be at least one different feature, and that different feature should be able to provide you some kind of technical advancement over the existing options. So apart from the publication, we also need to check if there is anything which is already in public use. So it may happen that there may not be any published literature or documents on record, but it might be, it might be used by public, like which we say traditional knowledge. So maybe that such kind of knowledge is not documented or not in the literature, but if it might be used by anyone else in public, then that can also become a prior art for you. So we have to see that the invention that you are dealing with or that you are thinking about, it should not be the part of any printed publication, any paper, or any patent literature, and it should not be in the public domain also. So based on the results, you have to identify at least one new feature, and that new feature should provide some kind of technical advancement, because the patent office will not give or will not grant the patent on the similar kind of product. So if we are coming up with same kind of air conditioners with same kind of cooling effect, then there will not be any exclusive rights will not be granted, because the technology has not improved. It is just that you have made a different product. Maybe that it is good in some terms, but those are not novel and inventive technical features. So for example, if we are, so there are a lot of medical sensors which are coming up in the market. So few of the medical sensors, they have 3 or 4 sensors, combined in a particular package. So if you are working in that domain, so you have to, what is required in writing such kind of patent specification, we'll have to define that when you are combining different sensors, what is the technical advancement you are going to achieve? Are your sensors going to sense in a better way from the other sensors which are already existing in the market, or what is different, how it is technically advanced? So many times when we talk with the inventors, and we ask them, okay, what is the difference between your invention and the other literature or the other prior art which we get in our prior art search report? So most of them mention that the way is different. The method of performing something is different. But then the second question which we pose to them is that, okay, it is different, but how this difference is bringing some kind of technical advancement. So being different is not sufficient. Being different is the first requirement, and the second is that how that difference is providing some kind of technical advancement or advancing technology, or advancing or providing some kind of technical benefits, how that is being done. If there is some feature, then obviously patent office will grant the patent. So the key feature is that before writing the specification, you have to gather your thoughts based on the results which you obtain from the prior art search. That is there any new feature which I'm going to bring through my research, and whether that new feature is bringing some kind of technical advancement, is solving some kind of problem that was existing in the public. So based on these 2 features, we will start writing the specification. So these are the parts of the specification. So these are the parts of the specification, and these sections are almost same. Either we write a provisional specification or either we write the complete specification. Your specification has to start from a title, a suitable title, which you will be giving it to your invention. Thereafter would come the field of the invention. Thereafter, we will be going through all these sections in detail in my further slides. That is why I'm just going through the section, naming the section, and thereafter we can detail in further slides. So first of all, there will be the title of the invention. Thereafter, there will be a field of the invention. Thereafter, background and prior art, followed by what is the objective of your invention. Thereafter, summary, and followed by description. So it has to be in this sequence only. If you do not follow this sequence, then patent office may raise objection that it is not in the, that your specification is not in the prescribed format. If you are dealing in some kind of biotechnology related inventions, and if any nucleotides are involved therein, then you'll have to, like, disclose the sequence listing, and there is a particular format wherein you'll have to submit the sequence listing. So claims, as I mentioned earlier, claims are important only when you are filing the complete specification. So your specification will be treated as complete only when you submit claims. So claims are generally not there in provisional, because at that time you just have conceived the idea and you still have to work on its working mechanics. So as and when your invention will be complete, then thereafter only you can draft the claims. And claims are the most important part, because these claims will be only checked whether these are new or not, whether these are inventive or not. And so all those parameters, all these will be examined, or claims will undergo a detailed examination. And when we say that a patent is granted, it means that the claims are granted, and through your claims you can stop a third person using your invention. So description is basically to support claims, means whatever we are writing in the claim, it should be sufficiently supported by the description. And lastly, there would be abstract. So now we will go through each of the sections, each of the segment of the specification. So first is the title of the invention. This you will have to, a suitable title for your invention is required. Either you are writing in provisional specification or you are writing a complete specification. So it should be a concise statement. It should not be very long, or it should not be very narrow. As per Indian Patent Act, it should not be more than 15 words. Or if it is, very important, then only you can exceed to 16, 17 words. But controller may object that the title is very much lengthier, and then and in case you get that objection, you will have to amend your title. So title should be such that it should describe the invention or the field in which you are working. For example, if you are making a medicine or a pharmaceutical composition for tuberculosis, then the title should be something like a method, or a pharmaceutical composition for tuberculosis. Likewise, if you are working in some mechanical domain, let's say a fan operating with solar energy, so you can have a title like a solar energy operated fan and method thereof, because you will be covering its method of operation also, that's how would it operate. So I hope I'm clear with respect to the title, that whatever is your invention, just specify it in a very, in not so small phrase and not so lengthy a phrase. Just choose around 15 words to clearly explain or specify your invention. And you should not be very specific in your title. For example, that we took the example of tuberculosis. So don't use or don't mention what is actually you are using for the treatment of tuberculosis. The reason why we say that avoid limiting language, because for bigger companies, for multinational organizations, so there are a lot of competitors, and if they have any idea that the company may be working on this particular concept or this particular domain, so they can just put that particular keyword, and if you have used that keyword, your patent will come or will be reflected in their search. So it is a kind of strategy also adopted by the patent applicant, that if you just use a common word, then there would be obviously multiple number of applications for a common particular thing. So we should not avoid limiting language, just specify a broader title. And so if you clearly frame out the title, that also helps the patent office to classify the invention and assign it to the proper group of patent examiners. So at the Indian Patent Office, there are experts for different subject matter. Like biotechnology patent application will go to the patent examiners or controllers who are expert and who deal with the biotechnology invention. Likewise, if your application is related to mechanical invention, then it will go to the mechanical examiners and controllers. Likewise, if there is a chemistry related invention, then it will go to the chemical group. So in case if you write any invention which is, which makes the invention or which makes the title, confusing, then sometimes it happens that it is misclassified, and then your file, just revolves around that who is going to take care. So it may now face some problems. So that is why it is suggested that when you are going to frame title, it should be clear, specific, not very much lengthy and not very much small also. So you can see this page. This is how the application details will be published at Indian Patent Office. So you can see here invention title, aroma and flavor enhancer gene of beta glucosidase from Terminalia arjuna. So this title is clear what it is talking about, and still it is not disclosing what is exactly inside the invention. So you can see here that the field of the invention has been indicated as microbiology. So because this was related to a biological invention, that is why this field of invention has been mentioned over here by microbiology. So this particular field is allotted by the Indian Patent Office. So applicant cannot choose from their own side. They can just put the field of the invention, and the Indian Patent Office automatically selects according to the field that you have entered, that in which segment or in which section it should belong, and thereafter the journey of the application starts. So I hope I'm clear that what is the importance of the title of the invention. So it is important that you keep your title specific, because it will further, it may affect the journey of your application. It has to, because the right title will help you to guide your application to the specific group of controllers. So these are some examples of a good title of patent applications, like if there is any implantable medical system. So someone wrote implantable medical system, housing and its operation. If there is a drug eluting system, then someone has used drug eluting system for cardiac devices. Likewise, a fermenter and its method of operation. And among the bad example is that that someone has just mentioned, data management. So data management, it's just we are not getting anything. What is coming from data management? Is it related to a product? Is it related to a process? So so the title should be framed considering that what should considering what will be the final product that you are going to bring into the society. So based on that product, you can frame your title, and mostly it should be system and method and its related method. Now thereafter we come to the field of the invention, which is the first section of your specification. So among the field of the invention, it is generally 2 or 3 lines. So we provide a very very broadly we describe our invention, what is the technical field in which it belongs, and it should not be more than a paragraph. And there is no need of disclosing the whole novelty and inventive concept here. And you can just start, like example I mentioned, that this invention relates to techniques for assessing data, or the present invention generally relates to improvements in a mop, and more particularly to a mop with squeezer. So you don't need to mention over here what is the component of the mop, and how the mop and squeezer is attached. So all those details will have to go in the description part. The field of the invention will just talk about the domain in which you are working and what are you going to bring in. The next section is the background and prior art. This section is very important because this is like, setting the stage. So the specification, when we write this specification, it has to be written in a way that when controller reads it, he or she has a clear perspective that, okay, this was the problem that the inventor is going to solve. So the background, it can be divided into two sections. First of all, you need to identify that what are the existing technology in that particular domain you are working on. For example, let's say we talk about water cooler. So you'll have to, and we are writing a specification on water cooler. So you'll have to check that what are the other water coolers which are already existing in the art. You will also have to identify that what are the disadvantages of the water coolers. Those are there. Are they not efficient? Or if they are efficient, they are using more power, or some kind of drawbacks you would need to highlight during writing the background. And thereafter, you have to discuss the problems which are there in the prior art and which you are kind of, trying to solve through your invention. And thereafter, finally, you have to provide a solution that your invention is going to provide to that technical problem. So amongst the all the details of the specification or sections of the specification, background is one of the important section, because unless you are able to highlight the need of your invention, then for a successful grantable case, it is very important that you explain that what is the need of the prior art. And need can only be highlighted if you are able to highlight few of the drawbacks or few of the shortcomings, because that's how you will show that your technology is advanced, or that's how you will be able to show the technology advancement. So I wanted to mention over here that actually writing the background is also very tricky, because if you disclose very closer prior art, then those prior art or those existing technologies can be considered by the patent office, and they may compare your invention with that technology and say that, okay, this is just the obvious extension. So we have to be very very tricky in selecting and how we are writing that background, or how we are displaying those prior art. It is very important. So it has to be in a way that a balance has to be maintained, that if you are closing related prior art, like related products or related process, then you are clearly able to highlight the problem in them. If you're unable to highlight any technical problem in them, then they may become a relevant prior art, and the patent office may say that, okay, your invention is almost similar to the prior art which was already existing, and how it is novel. So there may be objection. So a very, we have to write background in a very careful manner. So this is how it look like. This is a WIPO publication. So the first encircled is the title of the invention, like identification system. So this is the field which I mentioned. Thereafter comes the second field. This is technical field, means second section. And the third section is the background art. So this is what I was talking about. So your specification will look like the first page will look like something like this. Thereafter comes the objects of the invention. Now, how we have we have been writing the specification in a very specific, sequence. That first of all, we wrote that our invention is related to this particular domain. Then in the background section, which is the second section, we mentioned that what are the problem that we are going to solve. Because under Indian Patent Act, it is important that you specify what technical problem you are going to solve. Now, in the object section, just list out what are the advantages your invention would be providing. It could be like if we say that we have prepared a medicine for the cancer treatment, then we will have to see it from the technical point of view. Like if the composition has some kind of greater efficiency, if the composition has some kind of lesser side effects. So all those just list out when you're framing the object section of the invention. Just think and point out all the advantages that your invention could have, like the product or process, whatever it is there. Then all those advantages you can point out in a separate object. So it has to be written in a specific manner. I'll show you the example in next slide that how it has to be written. But the main thing is that just list out all the advantages which you feel that your invention would have over prior art. Then those advantages will become each of the object of the invention. So here actually we target on why the invention is designed and the goal which the invention sets to achieve. So as I mentioned, like with the example of water cooler. So why we have designed? Because we want to provide an efficient water cooler which saves electricity and which is efficient in cooling the water effectively. And the goal is also to provide an efficient product. So that way we'll have to set out objects for the invention. So there can be multiple objects. I will show you how we can write multiple objects in the next slide. And care should be taken while designing the examples and description as well as framing the claim so that all objects are ready. So basically, when you're when you are listing out that your invention is providing these advantages, advantage 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you are going to write description, just check whether you have touched upon or whether you have discussed about the advantages that you enlisted in the object section. So this was the example which I was talking about, like primary object of them. So this is an example. So we were drafting an application which was related to low intensity ultrasound device. So this is how we frame the object. So our first object was to provide an efficient low intensity ultrasound device. Our second objective was to provide a portable, wearable, and efficient low intensity ultrasound device. Third object was to provide a patch-based therapeutic low-intensity ultrasound reusable driver unit. Another object was to provide an efficient low-intensity ultrasound device, which is based on transducer, and that delivers low-frequency, low-intensity ultrasound waves. So likewise, when you will have an idea, or when you will be working on invention, you will have some kind of some kind of leads or some kind of idea. You will have that what could be the advantage of your invention, and all those advantages could be drafted as one of the objectives. And the important thing is that whatever objective you are going to put in the objective section, just don't just you will have to ensure that each of those objects is also described in the description part, and how you are going to achieve that object or that particular objective or that particular advantage. So till the object, I'll just summarize what we wrote till now. So first of all, there was the field of the invention. Second was the background of the invention. Third was the object. Or in the object section, what we wrote what are the advantages that we are going to achieve through the invention. In the summary part, we have to write what the inventor has actually done to achieve those advantages. So, for example, when we take this water cooler as an example, so this is one of the advantages that it saves electricity, or it has some kind of water, it has some kind of efficiency in terms of cooling the water, but how it is doing. Means, is there any specific coil system, or is there any specific how it has been made? What are its parts? Is there something specific with that regard? What is its component? So that particular thing, that how you are going to achieve that particular solution for the problem that you mentioned in the background section, and the advantages that you are going to, that you put in the earlier section. So summary covers all those things, means actually what is being done. So basically, when you will be drafting claims, you can just put a copy of claims in the summary section, and that way your summary is good to go. So in case if you don't want to spend more time in drafting the summary, so whatever claims like independent claims you have drafted, just you can copy those independent claims and make it as a summary, because in the independent claims only you will specify what are the components of that particular product or the process that you would be discussing. So some just a quick or a formula kind of thing, that how can you draft a summary section. It has to be the independent claims which you wrote in your patent specification, and you can also mention any additional advantages that you are going to achieve through your invention. Thereafter comes the detailed description part. Now, this is also very important, because again here, whole writing of this specification is, there cannot be a quick formula or a quick thing. It is a very subjective thing, and a whole lot of skill set is required, and strategy in each of the case will be different depending on how close a prior art you have, how strong case you have in terms of novelty, inventive step, and industrial applicability. So the parameters which I am mentioning over here, these are the standard parameters, and we should at least comply all these parameters to write a good patent specification, which does not attract a lot of objections during the examination stage. So when we are writing the detailed description, start with a general explanation, and then thereafter you can narrow down to the details of the invention. So what I mean to say over here, that if we are, if we are providing a pharmaceutical composition that will be useful in the treatment of tuberculosis, so I will start writing the detailed description in a manner that, first of all, my invention provides a process and a pharmaceutical composition for the treatment of tuberculosis, and then thereafter I will come, I will provide specific details that what is actually there in the composition that I have prepared for the treatment of tuberculosis. What is it? What is the process of preparation of that particular pharmaceutical composition? So it has to be, from the broader perspective, then you have to be narrow, and you have to be very specific. So the general law, it has to be drafted in that way. And when you are writing the description, again, these three important parameters, these three important things will always go hand in hand, and you will always have to keep it in mind whether you are writing any section of the specification. You have to specify that what is the new technical features that you are going to provide through your invention, and are those new technical features providing some kind of technical advancement, and do they have any industrial applicability? Most of the time, in 98%, or mostly the products and the process are industrially applicable. Means the products are being capable of being used or produced in the industry. So third criteria is not that difficult, but first two criteria of invention being novel and has an inventive step, this is one of the important criteria, and this needs to be complied with, and it cannot be compromised. So there are few other strategies when we are writing the specification. Like if we are working in biotechnology related invention or chemistry related invention, or if someone is working in the domain of herbal composition. So in such inventions like if we are providing some kind of composition, then in those composition there would be different components A, B, C, D, E. There would be an active ingredient, there would be some kind of supplementary ingredient, and then there would be some kind of excipient. And those all components would be working in synergistic way to provide a best treatment effect. So what we have to do is that we have to provide range for all those components. So now when you define the range has to be, it cannot be hypothetical. So you will have to perform experiment and you will have to see that what is the actual working range. Let's say 1 to 10 mm. So is your invention not working below 1 mm, or is your invention not working after 10 mm? So the range should be decided based on the working experiment that you perform, and accordingly you can have the range of each component. Thereafter, the next strategy is to define a scope of all the elements or features. So let's say we are using, if we are working on a mechanical, domain. So if we have a machine kind of thing, then we will have to define all the components. And the important part is that we will have to define how those components are interrelated and how they are working with respect to each other. For example, if we have a torch or stapler for that matter, we see that there in the stapler there are at least two flaps, and wherein in one part there is a place or a position for positioning the pins, and when we press both the parts of a stapler, then it staples a particular paper, or nowadays there are staplers for sweet clothes also. So the purpose is that in case if you have an invention wherein there is a particular machine, or like the earlier example which I took, that we have a sensor, then we'll have to provide that how all those sensors are interrelated and how they are working in integration with each other. Because if we just compile or combine all the existing component and provide a new invention, so that will not be acceptable by the patent office. They will just say that okay, these features are already there and you had just combined it, and by combination also you are not providing any kind of technical advancement. So it is very important, especially in mechanical related invention, that because most of the times the parts or the components which you would be using, those would be existing in the domain. Then how do we highlight the novelty and inventive feature? The trick is that that we need to specify the interrelationship and their functioning interrelationship with each other, and thereafter we can define the scope of all the elements and how basically they are working with each other to provide some kind of technical advantage. Thereafter, refer to the advantages of the described features. Means whatever components are there, just provide what is the advantage or what is the role of those components in the product or the process. Like if we take a herbal composition as an example, so herein we are using A, B, C, D component. Some herb is there, some other excipient is there, some other chemical is there. So we'll have to specify that this particular herb is our active ingredient, and this is present in this particular ratio, and this is providing this kind of advantage. Likewise, the B component has role for this particular objective, and when it is mixed with this active ingredient, the impact or the technical advantage is improved. So something like that. Embodiments of the invention to be described. Embodiment is one of the very important feature when you are describing the invention. Embodiments means what could be the possible variation of your of your invention. So like I described that if we have, let's say, a detergent composition, and then that detergent composition would have some kind of surfactant, it would have some kind of cleansing agent. So it is important that whatever surfactant can be used for your invention, you should cover all those chemicals or solution. For example, if we go through the herbal extraction invention, so most of them are based on alcoholic extraction. So they use alcohol. So we'll have to specify in such cases that what are the alcohols, or the organic solvents that we are using. If methanol and ethanol both can be used, or like propanol can be used. So in case if we just specify that only ethanol can be used, even if our results can be achieved by the propanol, but we have not covered it in our specification, then someone else can use propanol and use our invention, and that will not be considered as infringement, because we never disclosed that our invention can be practiced with propanol also. So this is one of the examples. So it is very important that we have to specify when we are writing the specification. Just think on it again and again, that what other component, what are the substitute that can be used for this particular component of features. Then the next point is that you should not only say how to make the invention, but also how to use the same. Means like if we are talking about some kind of machinery, then what is the method of operation of that machine? It also has to be completely elaborated in the specification. Thereafter, as per Indian Patent Act, we have to provide enablement and best mode examples, like a specific example of how the invention has to be practiced, like each and every step. If we are talking about a process steps, which means that at least if there are any 4-5 steps, we'll have to define all the parameters. You can provide all the parameters and all the steps in range, because obviously you would not like to disclose the best, or kind of trade secret kind of thing. But you can provide in range, so that your the topmost or the best effect can be hidden, and still you can comply with the requirements of Indian Patent Act. Disclose alternative embodiments that I discussed earlier, that whatever could be the possible variation, just include it, because those are very important. In case if you have a breakthrough technology, then everyone would like to copy it in such a way that they're not covered under infringement also, and still they can use your invention. So with the alternative embodiments, you kind of extend the scope of your invention. And it also helps in hiding your best mode or the trade secret kind of thing, because when you provide it in range, obviously then the other person will have to do a lot of permutation and combination and it would be kind of difficult that with what parameters and what other things you have come to the best result. So use headings to describe the invention. So whenever you are writing the description part, because it will be kind of very exhaustive and lengthy document, you can put headings so as to make it clear and readable and understandable by the examiner. And next is keep to the point, means don't sometimes it happens that there are different there are different experiments or test studies which are not relevant to your invention. Don't include that, because we have a word limit also. If we have the specification till 30 pages, then it will be covered under the basic patent filing fees of ₹8,000. But if there is something, if we are going beyond 30 pages, then each page will cost extra fees of ₹800. Likewise, if we have extra claim, then we will have fees for each claim also. Each claim will charge ₹1,600. So it is important that we are able to specify our invention in a better manner within 30 pages of a specification and within 10 claims. So these are few examples. where we have mentioned that in case if your claims, like in example number 1 we are talking about here, that claim provides cloning vector, but in the example and embodiment we are describing only plasmid. Then your the final inference, or what you can say, is that the your claim will be restricted to a cloning vector which is only plasmid. So if someone else is using any other cloning vector, that cannot be covered under the scope of your invention. So this is what I was trying to explain in the earlier slide, that if you are if there could be any number of things that could be covered under cloning vector, um, it should be covered in the description part. In second example, if we are talking about, like if we have claimed an invention that use insert gases, while in the description part we just describe only neon. So your specification will be read with a restricted meaning, wherein in a gas to be read with neon only, it will be specific. And if anyone is using argon or helium or any other insert gases, those will not be covered under your specification. So I hope it is clear that whatever just think that what could be the maximum possible variation that your invention could use and still achieve the best result. Thereafter, different embodiments should be drafted. Like I mentioned that whatever possible things should be there, it should be done. It should be written in a broader manner. So, for example, if we are talking about a vaccine which is related for dengue virus, then we can mention that we are providing a vaccine which is used for the treatment of flavivirus infection, and thereafter we can specify that we are providing a composition which is useful for the treatment of dengue virus. So it should be done that way. That first of all, we should broadly define that the vaccine is useful for a particular family of virus, useful for treating particular a family of virus, and thereafter we should specify that what is the exactly what is the virus that we are targeting to treat. And this is also one of the important things that we should mention, that the examples are for illustration only, because in case if your specification goes to court and they are each and every section is dissected and analyzed very keenly, so they will each and every line, sentence, it will be read in very detail. So if you do not mention that examples are for illustration only, then it may be interpreted that your invention is related, or it or provides only these kind of examples, and it cannot be enlarged or extended to other sectors or with other factors. And describe the invention in greater detail with illustration, table, graphs, diagrams. So in most of the cases, you will have to perform some kind of studies or experiments. So just display those results with the help of table, graph, diagram, so that it is better understandable and readable from Indian Patent Office side also. Because better we are able to explain them our invention, our novelty and inventive step, and better will be the chances of getting the patent granted. Comparative examples, I personally suggest to all our clients and to all our inventors that they should always provide a comparative example, because nowadays in every domain there are lot of products are already existing, lot of knowledge is there. So to give a clear picture to the controller that this is the technical advancement which we are bringing in, so it will be very good if we can provide a comparative examples. Thereafter, it is important that inferences or conclusion from the examples had to be mentioned. So when we are providing examples, like examples includes test studies or something like that, then we should write you know, a 2-line inference or 2-line conclusion at the bottom, so that the examiner has a clear-cut idea that this is the inference of what we are trying to bring in from, or what we are trying to convey from this example. The description should be adequate and sufficient so as to enable a person skilled in the art to perform and repeat the invention. So this is one of the requirements by the Indian Patent Act. When you are describing your invention, like if it is a process or if it is a method of operation of a machine, you'll have to provide you know, clear instructions, so that if someone wants to repeat it, or if someone wants to perform that invention, he or she can without any further inputs from the inventor. So when we were talking about embodiment, so I thought I'll just spend a dedicated time for the embodiment drafting. Actually, embodiment, as I mentioned, that it is one way of performing something. So whatever possible variations of a product can happen, or let's say there is a 4-step process, and that process can also be performed in 3 steps. So all these possibilities and all these you know, variations, it can be it has to be covered under embodiment. Now, what is the importance of having embodiment? So if you have you know, an invention that has elements like A plus B plus C and D, basically there are 4 components, A, B, C, D, and then someone you know, makes almost same thing, but just leave D. Now in that case, we'll have to see that what was the importance of D section, and whether we have you know, whether we have sufficiently mentioned or described the importance or significance of D. Because if anyone you know, just you know, they just go through the components of these A, B, C, D, and they feel that only this invention can also work only with A, B, C, and D is maybe just water and does not have any important role. So they can just copy your invention with A, B, C and just leave D, because you have not covered in your invention that your invention can also be performed with only 3 components, and it is not mandated that D should also be there. Then in that case, we cannot prevent other person, or we cannot stop other person that you know, from infringing our patent. So this is how it has to be analyzed, assessed, and then written in the specification. So these are also the examples of embodiment. This is from the mechanical domain. So in one of the patent, it was, you know, it is written like a first embodiment of electrical device contact assembly 100 is shown. Now, which includes a mainline connector. So all these components are there. While if we are talking about a different view of a particular device, then that also has to be described. So basically all the variation and whatever possibilities is there, it has to be covered in an embodiment. A very simple example I would like to quote here. For let's say we are going to have a claim on a chair. Now our chair can have 4 legs. Our chair can have 1 leg. Our chair can have 1 leg. Then you know, extended to further 5 you know, this extensions, and we can have a simple 4 leg kind of thing. Now our inventive step is basically on the sitting position of the chair. The legs are not that important, but if we do not specify that the leg of the chair can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, or it can be 4, or it can be in a non-limiting kind of thing, and it can be in a various positions, or it can be shaped accordingly as per the seating arrangement. So if we only you know, make it very strict and just specify that there are only 4 legs, then a person who is making similar chair with only 1 leg, he or she will be out of the scope of your invention. So it is important that you should specify that your invention has how many, you know, legs, in that your chair can also work with 1 leg kind of system, 4 leg kind of system, and like that. Drawings are also one of the important part of your description or specification. So especially in mechanical kind of domain, always describe your invention with the help of drawing and use reference numerals to indicate all the components. And again, here also use broad to narrow strategy. So start from figure number 1, which defines the overview of your device, and then thereafter you can narrow down with the specific drawings and use numerals to figure. And each number referred in the drawing should be described in a specification. So when you are writing or when you are using a machine kind of thing, so you will have to identify the parts of that machine through an arrow and mention it and mention a reference numeral, and those reference numerals should be described in the description part. Nowadays, CAD drawings are also being accepted by the Indian Patent Office, but it should be clear, and the part should be indicated by reference numeral, and it has to be like written in a way like figure number 1 shows block diagram that illustrates data structure. Likewise, figure number 2 shows flow diagram illustrating like this. So this is one of the example of showing figure. So you can see here that each of the component is indicated by a reference numeral, and it has been indicated clearly. Now, when you will be describing this invention in this specification, you will have to specify all the components and what is its function, how it is performing, like that. Sequence listing, as I mentioned, if you have a biotechnology related invention, then you will have to file its sequence listing in a specific format. There is a software called PAT sequence, so you will have to generate sequence listing in that software for nucleotide, for nucleic acid, and for protein sequences, both of them. And if you are using a microorganism that has not been present in the domain, and you have been using it for the first time, then you'll have to deposit it at a depository, and the depository here in India is Imtech Chandigarh. You can you'll have to deposit there. Now comes the most important part, which are claims. So as I mentioned, just to revise what we have discussed in last 1.5 hours. First of all, in our specification, it should be the field of the specification. Thereafter, we prepare the background of the specification, wherein we define what is the technical problem that we are going to solve. Thereafter comes the objects of the invention, wherein we provide the advantages of our invention. Thereafter, we come to the summary part. In summary, we mention the actual components which we are, which are responsible for achieving those advantages. And I also mentioned that that the claim which we are drafting, those can also be copied in the summary section for reference. And thereafter, we describe the description, and in the description we have to detail our invention from A to Z with all the variation, with all the possibilities. Now thereafter, the most important part is claims. Claims, again, when you are going to write claims, just list out the things that what is the novelty and what is the technical advancement, and then only you will be able to write the claims. So claim should be such that it actually defines the protection you are seeking. And just remember, if you miss out something, writing in the claims, then there is no invention outside the claim. Means if you are not writing the novel and inventive part in your claim, then at later stage it will be difficult for you to bring the features from the specification or description to claim, because generally there are objections on amending claims. So once you are writing the claims, it has to be done very thoroughly. So the strategy should be that focus, what is your invention and what is your novel and inventive feature. And this you will get to know by the search results of your prior art search. And based on that, you can draft your claim number 1. So basically, there are two types of claim. First is the independent claim. So in the independent claim, this is like claim 1, which we say. You will have to define what is the if you are talking about a machine, then you will have to define it as claim 1, and herein you will have to define all the components and how it is related, interconnected with each other. So generally, claim 1 is the independent claim, and it should cover, the novel and inventive feature that you have just penned down. And the claims which are, there would be some claims which would be only defining the features of the parts which are mentioned in the independent claim. So all those features can go in the dependent claims, and they will take dependency from a particular claim. So you must have seen in claims, like there would be some claims which stand alone, like a process for producing something, like a machine for doing something. And while there would be some other claims who would depend on any other claim, like a method as claimed in claim 1. So whenever you see that type of vocabulary, a method as claimed in claim 1, you can understand that that is a dependent claim. And in claims also, the scope is defined by the independent claim. So just ensure that whatever novel and inventive feature you have penned down, it should be covered in the independent claim. So prior to writing the specification, these are the questions that you should ask, like what is the invention? What are the elements that make up the invention? How do the elements, related to each other, and how they are working in interrelationship with each other? Do you have more than one invention? Because sometimes it happens that there are interconnected inventions. So you can, in such cases, you can have an independent claim for apparatus or any machine or composition. And likewise, you can have one more independent claim on its process of performance of, method of functioning, something like that. And whatever possible variations could be there, like I gave the example of chair, you can use all those possibilities as each of the embodiments. So these are the few examples which will help you in determining what are the independent and dependent claims. You can see that the independent claim is like a metal nanoparticle composition comprising water, a water-soluble polymer having both carboxylic acid and sulfonic acid group. And thereafter, the dependent claim only define the nanoparticle composition as claimed in claim 1, comprises weight ratio of the water-soluble polymer to silver as weight. So that means that in the independent claim, we have just defined the basic components, like main novel and inventive components, like silver nanoparticle dispersed in the water. And when we are specifying the ratio, like what should be the ratio of the polymer to silver, it should be 0.005 to 0.04. Then we have included in the description part, in the dependent claim. So it is not necessary that you have to specify everything in the independent claim. So just think and assess that what are the essential novel and technical features that should only come in the independent claim, and further or the the specific features or any further properties or any further features of these components which are already the part of independent claim, it can go into the dependent claim. And always use as claimed in claim, because sometimes the applicant use like the method of claim 1. So this is not an acceptable vocabulary by Indian Patent Office. There is a specific format. So dependent claims always have to use as claimed in claim. Likewise, there is another example. This is also the example of independent claim, a liquid vaccine formulating composition. Now, this vaccine formulation comprises a rotavirus antigen, a combination buffer system, a combination of sugar. So these are the basic components. And when we are talking about like what is the combination buffer system, is a citrate bicarbonate buffer system. So these all things have to be defined in the dependent claim. Likewise, this is the example for a mechanical device. So the claim which do not rely on any other claim, those claim we call as independent claim, and those define the scope. So herein we are claiming a device for delivering energy to treat issue, and that device particularly comprises a catheter, an energy emission element, a controller to control, and likewise when we are discussing a particular feature from a dependent claim, it means that we are specifying and it has to be covered in the dependent claim. So how do we write claims? So based on, you know, the general practice, and this is a very simple kind of example. It may help you to understand that how we should write a claim, but not in hard and fast formula. So there are three parts of claim. First is the preamble. Like preamble will be a particular, preamble can relate to the title of your invention that you framed, like a method for transformation or a machine for performing something else. Then body of the claim covers the actual subject matter, like the novel and inventive technical part. And the preamble and the body has to be interlinked with the transitional phrase like comprising, consisting, or including. So amongst the transitional phrases, comprising is the most acceptable term because it has a broader scope or broader range. So this is one of the example. A composition consisting of ingredient A, B, and C. So a composition, it means it is like the preamble, and the transitional phrase over here. What we see is that that consisting is the transitional phrase, and what is the actual component of the claim? This is the body. So if we see that. What is there in this particular example, that we are providing a particular composition which has three ingredients. So we'll have to frame it like this. First of all, the preamble will be the introductory part, that what actually you are providing, a composition or machine or something like that. Then the transitional phrase will come, that will be connecting your preamble to the body of the whole claim, and body is the actual section which will define what are the components of the claim. So when we construct an independent claim, what are the strategies that we should have in our mind? First of all, identify the title of the invention, as I mentioned earlier, because with the title, it will help you in framing the preamble of the claim. Thereafter, identify the novel and inventive component, because all those novel and inventive component will go under the body section. Identify the family of each component, means if we are using a particular component, so what can else be used for that component. And thereafter, whatever components and features are there in your claim one, you'll have to interconnect them somehow to show that they are working in combination. And the first time you introduce a feature, for example, a particular part, you have to use a or n for that particular part. And when we are using it again and again, you can just refer it said or the. But it is important that when you are using it for the first time, you have to refer it by a or n. Construction of dependent claim, it is comparatively easy. So just read your independent claim that you have framed, and just check what features can be specified in the dependent claim, and that's how your dependent claim will be framed. So this is also one of the examples on how to frame a patent claim. Specifically for mechanical inventions, it is, where we are discussing any machine, or where we are talking about any machine. So there are three sections, A, B, and C. In A, you will have to put the preamble. B is that you'll have to state all the components one by one, because it is a mechanical invention, so mostly it will have some kind of components. And C is explain how they are connected with each other. If you do not explain their connection, it will not be a good case. So it is important that you explain the interconnection and functioning of all the components. So as I mentioned earlier, if we take this example, We are providing an equipment comprising of printed pages, a binding shape to hold the printed page together, and a cover joined with that binding. So preamble will be here and equipment. So this will come from the title. What is the linking phrase? Linking is the comprising, because it is linking the preamble with the body or main invention. What is the components like printed pages, binding shape, like that. Now there can be different type of claims, like if you have a product, then you can claim your product as such, defining all the components. So if you have a device or if you have a apparatus or machine, that those kind of claims are considered as product claims. While the method of the process claims are those claims wherein you explain that how that particular machine or device is performing some kind of operation. Or likewise, if you have a pharmaceutical composition, then how that pharmaceutical composition has been prepared, that will come under the process claim. So generally, these type of claims are allowed by Indian Patent Act. If you have a product claim, it is allowed. If you have a process claim, process of preparing a particular pharmaceutical composition or method of operation of a machine, it is allowed. Composition claim, composition claim means if we are providing some kind of composition mostly relevant to chemical or pharmaceutical industry, those are also allowed. Method of treatment is not allowed, wherein you are, you claim that treating some kind of disease by basically surgical methods, and those kind of operations and those kind of methods are not allowed in India. If you are coming up with new physical forms of a particular substance with enhanced efficacy, then that can be allowed, but it will you'll have to face a strong objection under Section 3D of the Indian Patent Act. Living organism cannot be allowed because Indian Patent Act will consider that it is just a discovery. If you have genetically modified microorganism, then it can be allowed. So if we see the claims in the biotech section, so we generally the claims are allowed for microbiological inventions, but the microorganisms should be genetically modified, or any process relating to microorganism like production of chemical substances or recombinant DNA technology, cell lines if produced artificially, vaccines, or method of extracting some kind of chemicals from the plant, or method of fermentation. So those kind of invention wherein we are able to justify the novel and inventive stuff, those are easily allowed by the Indian Patent Office. In mechanical domain, as I mentioned earlier, that when we are writing the claim, we have to mention all the parts of the machine and the way they are working in interconnection with each other. So product claim on machine and its method of functioning or operation is allowed by the Indian Patent Office. This is one of the example of the granted patent. So this is basically a water filtration system. It comprises 3 sections: a first and the top compartment. Then thereafter there is a second compartment, and then thereafter there is a third compartment. So you can see over here that all the compartments, although they are they are independent in their own existence, but they have been written in a way that they are shown to be interconnected. Like a second compartment vertically positioned to receive the water filtered from the first and the top compartment, including varying size layers of functionalized sand, followed by the layer of charcoal. So we have to make it or write it in a way that the whole system appears to be interconnected and appears to be a single unit. For software domain, the method of performing a particular function is allowed, like method of processing data efficiently or method of performing live migration. But it is important that method steps are linked with the hardware features, because algorithms are not patentable in India. And if you do not link your method steps with the hardware, then the Patent Office will raise an objection that this is just an algorithm and it cannot be patentable. So there is also some kind of strategy and trick which is adopted while drafting the claims and software inventions. System claims may also be allowed in some cases, but it will depend on controller to controller. Claims on computer programs are not allowed, because I mentioned that algorithms are not allowed by Indian Patent Act. You can copyright algorithm, but you cannot patent it. Likewise, claims on storage media, computer readable mediums, these are clearly not allowed by the Patent Office. So this is one of the examples for the software inventions. Like we have a mobile device comprising an interface for a remote connection, likewise a mobile analytics engine. So we have explained all the components of this particular device and how they are connected. And now corresponding to this particular mobile device, we have also claimed a method that how this mobile device will be performing some kind of method. So these are the steps how this particular mobile device will operate. Now there are a few tips to frame claims. Like whenever you are starting, drafting your claim, you should always start it with the V claim, I or V claim, and always check to see that your claim consists of 3 parts, that is preamble, transitional phrase, and the body, as I mentioned in the earlier slide. Include claims of varying scope, have a product claim as well as a process claim. Maybe that if controller does not allow your product claim, at least you will have a process claim in that case. Choose your words wisely. Start from broad features, and then you can further specify it. And there should be at least one claim in a patent. So it cannot happen that you cannot claim, you do not claim anything and it will just be granted. So at least one claim should be there. And each claim is written as a single sentence. So it cannot happen that, that you provide a set of sentences. It has to be a single sentence. And whatever claim is there, it should be adequately supported by the specification. As I mentioned, that all the features should be sufficiently supported and explained in the description part. Likewise, words and terminology should be consistent. So if you are using a particular term for a particular feature, then each time you refer that feature, you will have to specify or you will have to use those the same word only. And the claims has to be started on a new page. This is very important that if you do not claim, you disclaim. So it is essential that whatever novel and technical feature you have listed out, it should be included in claim, because if you later on wants that you should, include any further feature in your claim, it will not be allowed by the Indian Patent Office. So ensure that your claims terms broadly and consistently. Means I mentioned that just put the broad features in the starting claim, in the independent claim, and then thereafter you can specify the feature in the dependent claims. Carefully review terms in the specification. Whatever you have written, there should not be anything controversial or going against your own statement. And minimize background. As I mentioned, that we have to write background in a very strategic manner, so that prior art does not overlap with our invention, and still we are able to show some kind of technical advancement over the background. Many times I have seen that inventors use in claim that it is very good or very much efficient. So we don't have to cover adjectives in the claim. Adjectives are to be covered under the objectives. Means all the advantages, features have to be covered in the benefits, have to be covered in the objective section. And we don't have to cover the advantages in claims. Claims should only cover the main technical part, due to which you are able to achieve the advantages. So these are the few must questions that you should ask before starting drafting the specification. Do the inventors have any articles or publications on the subject? Means any kind of early publication has happened or not, or are there any experiments that have been performed in the specification that you have been writing? So those have been performed actually or not, or are these hypothetical? And ideally it should be performed on real basis, and then only you should include the results. Are there comparative examples statistically significant? So with the help of comparative examples, you can show that how your invention is technically advanced. Is there any undisclosed or inconsistent data? So all these things are required to be mentioned. Next comes the abstract of the invention. So this is also one paragraph kind of thing. and it should not exceed more than 150 word, and it should actually define that what you are going to provide and what is the advantages of your invention. You can include the reference of figures and reference numeral in the abstract. Abstract should not be too long, and likewise it should not be too short. It should be drafted on a separate page, and the language of the abstract should not be ambiguous. If it is ambiguous, then it may create a problem, because whenever your application will be published, the abstract will be the first, it will be reflected on the first page. So it should be clear. So what are the formal requirements? Formal requirements is that you can file your application either in Hindi or in English language. It should be in large and legible characters with deep indelible link. And the spacing should be 29.7 centimeter by 21 centimeter with a margin of at least 4 centimeter on the top and left hand part of the page, and 3 centimeter on the bottom and right hand part of the page. So this is a checklist at the end that verify the following. Did you conduct the search? What were the search results? Have you enlisted the problems in the prior art? And what is the problem sought to be solved by the invention? Is the solution obvious? What is the novelty? Have you covered novelty and inventive step in the claims? What are the prior art, and how, are they teaching away, or are they teaching towards the invention? Just go through it very deeply. And what is the oral disclosure or public knowledge which is already existing in that domain. So all those kind of things which will help you in understanding that what is the novel and inventive part. Likewise, as I mentioned, that public knowledge or common general knowledge should also not be there for the product or process that you are trying to capture in your claims and the specification. And be sure to capture all the technology features and not just the technology advantages. All the advantages can go in the description part, but how the the actual features or the technology parts, it should be there in the claim section. Yeah, with this I conclude my session. Thank you very much for patient listening. I understand it's a lunch time and people are mostly impatient. So, madam,
thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Any questions, please put forth. Hello? Hello? Okay. I think hello? If you have any questions, please just ask. Okay. Okay, just switch out your cameras for your group photo.
So there is one.
Yeah, good question, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, madam, for your explanation.
Can you please show some sample started document? Yes, I can show. Just allow me to share my screen.
So 1 minute, sir. Ma'am is showing a document. Afterwards, we can take the photo.
So is there something, are you able to see some document from that side?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes.
It's written form 2 and like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this was one application that we drafted and it has been granted also. So as I mentioned, so basically this is the first page, which we say form 2. So this is the title of the invention: community-based integrated water filter system for cleaning drinking water. Thereafter comes the details of the applicant. Now here in the first section comes like field of the invention, as I mentioned. It is just only 1 or 2 lines. Thereafter comes the background of the invention. Then herein we are defining that what are the technical problems that were existing in that earlier technology. Thereafter comes the objective of the invention. Objective is, as I mentioned, that all the advantages will come as each of the objective. Like another objective is to provide a cost-effective filtration system. One of the another objective is to provide a water filtration system to tackle a number of problems such as hardness, heavy metal, and microbial contamination related to the water. So like that. Thereafter, we have described the figure, detailed description of figure, and herein we have included all the listed all the figures. Thereafter, we have provided summary of the invention. And as I mentioned, that in summary, we have to actually provide what are the components, like at least, and these components are there and how they are connected likewise. And then thereafter, so this is all summary. So we have included the components also and the method of performing the system. Thereafter comes the detailed description. So these are some legal we use these disclaimers. These are very helpful in case if there would be any controversy or any kind of thing. So by these disclaimers, we are actually trying to elaborate or extend the scope of our claim. And thereafter, here comes the actual technology that we are defining. So it has been defined like that manner only, then which I defined. That first of all, it will be a broader kind of description, and thereafter we will slowly come to the specific aspects of the machine. For example, like in the first paragraph, it was just only that we are providing the water filter. Then thereafter, we have explained here that what are the components and like that. So you can see here we have used various embodiments. So each and every variation that we can think of, it has to be shown as embodiments. Thereafter, so embodiments, and these are all embodiments. Then these are examples wherein we have tested this particular device. So there are a few examples wherein we have included tested studies. And herein we have also tested and compared the efficiency of the product that we are claiming. So it was a water filter. So when water was passed through the compartment, so these are the observations which were given in the description part to convince the controller that we have efficient system. So you can see that a lot of experiments, and now comes the claim part. So claims, you will see here that no advantage is not there. It is only the actual thing which will be responsible for achieving some kind of advantage. So these are claims. We try to keep claims till 10 only, because after 10 there is extra fees of rupees 1600 for each claim, until unless it is very necessary. So we had 11 claims in this application. Thereafter comes the abstract. So abstract is just a paragraph of what is the product, and thereafter comes the drawing. These are the drawings. I hope it is clear now.
Someone is asking, what is the process after filing the application for examination?
Okay. So what is the process? So as I mentioned in my first page of the presentation, so I mentioned different stages, that when we file the application, thereafter the second stage will be that it will be published, and thereafter when we file request for examination, only then it will be examined. So when we file a request for examination, your application will be examined for novelty, inventive step, and industrial applicability, and then the controller will issue a examination report mentioning that these are the documents, or these are the prior art which are closer to your technology, and you need to differentiate it. And I think further the next session will talk more in detail about what are the aspects to be considered in the examination.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Participants, now you kindly switch on your cameras. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now we'll meet after lunch. Okay. Participants will come for join the session at sharp by 2:05. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Okay. Bye, ma'am. Bye.